right, let's see. I'm gonna wait till everybody's live. See what happens. All right, looks like we got 4 people live. If you guys are on, please do comment. Definitely don't want to go live with nobody in the chat. Nobody watching. Matt, what up? What up? If you guys can see there, that is the product we are creating. This is the canvas we got. If you guys can hear me, everything sounds good, let me know as well. Please do confirm. So anyways, the way that this works is we go live. I'm gonna kind of do a live tutorial voiceover. And if you have any questions, I'll be paying attention to the chat. We can pause it. We can explain some things. We can do some screenwriting. As you guys can see here, we can get fancy with it. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Now, one thing I do that I always ask first, but I always try to clean up the parting here, that little parting section. I try to clean that up, and so I will do it if it needs a little bit of cleaning up, and I'll ask my clients. And so that's the first thing we did here. Now I'm gonna run a number 3. It's gonna be the longest guard that I have on the sides. It's gonna be a number 3, and the reason why I chose a number 3 for his hair is because his hair is curly, but like a loose curly hair, and so a number 3, it still lays down. It still looks really good, except you know, it doesn't get too light either. It stays dark. So we're gonna do a number 3 as my base, and that'll be the foundation for this haircut. Now he has I don't know if you guys can see this. He has like a weak hairline all the way around. If you look at his C cup, you can see how weak it is all through here. You can see his vertical bar right here is super weak. Even his corners here are super weak, but we're gonna try our best to make it look as full and sharp as possible. Like, in my opinion, if I can make that happen for him, the haircut's gonna stand out, I feel like, for him. So and we're gonna do this all the way around the head. Now, if you notice, I switched over to my 2. We are going to do kind of like a, I don't even want to call it a design, but like a V design type thing in the back. So I want to lower it down to a number 2 closed. That, and if you notice, he has a lot of calyx here in the back. Whoops, my mistake. He has a lot of calyx here in the back. And you can see I'm going against the grain as much as possible, but I'm taking advantage of, let me show you guys. I'm taking advantage of his calic area. This is always going to look darker, this little strip right here. So that's what I'm going to use for this little design that he's getting. And it's just a simple V pretty much. And you can see a light area here too because of the calic. We're just going to incorporate that and use that with our design. What up, Drew? What up, Scott? Yo, I got these Babyless trimmers. I got them hitting so hard, guys. Oh man, lasers. Below this line, we're not going to use the razor or the shaver. He does bump up. But you guys can see it's actually good to incorporate these like calic areas because they tend to stay dark and full. So, and then I'm going to put another line above it so that it kind of stands out in its own like island pretty much. And I'm going to make that line wide because I want that contrast to be there between the color of the hair and the color of his skin. I want that contrast to be there. So this line I'm creating right here is going to be pretty wide. How's everybody doing? How's everybody's Monday start so far? Like for me, I used to get excited for Mondays if that didn't happen. But it got to a point. It got to a point, man, where my Mondays were. I didn't care about holidays. I didn't care about back to school. Every day felt like back to school. And I'm not saying that to like to brag or anything like that. I'm just saying I've always set goals for myself, and one goal, was to make a couple $100 on a Monday, or make $100 on a Monday. Then I went to goals where I wanted to be able to pay booth rent on Mondays. If it was $225 for booth rent, I wanted to be able to pay that on Mondays. And then it got to a point where I wanted my Mondays to feel like my Fridays, And I'd get hyped for Mondays, man. All right, so of course I follow everything up with the shaver. One thing I want to explain to you guys too, with the beard, when I'm creating that first bald line on a high taper, if you guys notice, I always bring it down here. Like I'm always down here with it. And part of it is because I need this whole area to be nice and light, because we're going to fade this beard in. And fading a beard in is the same guidelines as fading the sides, right? You're going to do your blade open. You're going to do your one open. You're going to do your two open, fade it in, right? If you want it to be even if you want the fade to kind of come in even more aggressively, then you want your blade open to start like down here, right? And then your one open, and then your two open. But mostly I do this so it really separates the beard from the high taper, because what tends to happen if you keep like this initial guideline too high, you end up almost being able to line up the C cup anyways. We don't want a C cup whatsoever. So I really wanted to separate the beard from the sides, if that makes sense. All right, and let's continue. Yeah, Vimeo cost me $900 for that damn software. All right, anyways, blade open now, and we're going just about to the back of the head. But if you notice, what I'm trying to do here is I kind of want this to follow through, right? So like I'm stopping my guideline right about here because I want it to kind of follow through into that neckline just like that, okay? That's kind of what I'm visualizing. And now I'm just taking out the line. It's all the way closed. And this is what I'm doing. Do I have a clipper with me? I don't think I have a clipper with me. But I have a guard. So look, let me show you guys this. Check out my webcam real quick. I want to explain this to you. All right, I'm going to let's make the webcam bigger. All right, so imagine this is the head, right? This is the person's head. I'm going in all the way closed with the teeth all the way closed. I'm going in teeth first, and as I get higher, as I get closer to that next line, that next guideline, I'm going to the bevel of the blade, right? So, better way to explain it. Hold on, guys. This is kind of like... All right, look. I feel like being able to visualize it is important. So this is my initial guideline. That's my initial guideline. That's the next guideline, right? And so I'm going in T first. As I get closer to that next line, I'm already lifted up. If you notice, I'm already lifted up. So nothing near that next guideline is being cut because it's lifted up. But as I get to the bevel of the blade, I am getting really close to that next guideline, and then I'm lifting off. That's how. And like I was telling you guys, if I'm gonna fade the beard, these would be the steps that I would take. What I realized after the fact is that he wanted the fade to be much more aggressive, and so yeah, so I'm gonna end up fading lower than that a little bit later. If you guys got any questions, do ask. I'm paying attention to the chat as well. So now we have the number one open. We have the number one open now. And we're going up about an inch. I'm paying attention to the shade of black that I'm getting above that one open. What is the one open doing? Is that shade really, really light compared to a number 3, for example? And it does kind of look like it. So I'm almost probably going to start compressing above that one open. What I mean by that is that 1.5 guard that I use, I'm going to be careful not to go up too high because I'm scared it's going to create too light of a shade and I'm going to mess up the gradients of my fade. But I also want you guys to realize what I'm visualizing here too. What I'm thinking about here is I need to blend this into that shade right there. So I'm not looking at, I'm almost kind of dissecting it, right? Like I'm working in steps. I've already created a little bit of a gradients here. Now, what I'm looking to do is blend this section into this section. So I'm going to have to bleed this shade of color into this area in order to eventually blend into this color right here. So a lot of times people are afraid to bring the blade open above this line of this guideline, but you almost have to. You almost have to do it. So that's the only way you're going to be able to bleed the two shades of color into each other, if that makes sense. So let's continue. I'll be in Des Moines, Iowa this weekend too, guys. I don't know if any of you guys are in Des Moines, Iowa, but I will be in Des Moines, Iowa. All right, so we're just blending deeper now. I went to a one open all the way into the calic area of his beard. And at this point, we are at a blade open, and we're just closing it the higher we get to that bald line. And now it's pretty much all the way closed, and it's blended. Look at that mean calic he has right here. All right, so now we can start working this panel. Remember, we made this panel with the one open. We're going to follow it up with the half guard. It is not all the way open. It is not all the way closed. It is about halfway, and we can close it up little by little. But if you get to the point where you think you have to close it all the way, you might as well take the guard off and use your blade open. But you can see almost how high I'm going. Now, this is where we bleed that blade open into this panel. You can see now I'm using that blade open, and I might close it a little bit too. Not all the way closed, but just a little bit. And you can see now it's starting to blend those two sections together. And that's looking pretty blurry, no lines. All right, so now I'm using my two open. I'm going right beneath that parietal ridge because remember, the whole base, the foundation of the cut, we started with the number 3. All right, now I have my 1.5 guard. It's not all the way open. It's not all the way closed. Now, if you fear that you're gonna put a line in, you can open all the way. I just know that my 1.5 guard halfway, as long as I'm careful, You know, I can start off on the bevel of the guard, for example, instead of all the way open. But a 1.5 guard halfway usually does a good job of blending into that two open. It open to kind of bleed into that 1.5 section. We're gonna use that number 1 open to kind of bleed into that 2 open section, right? So right beneath this 1.5 guard, we'll follow it up with the 1 open, and this is going to allow the previous section to bleed in to this new section. And I might even follow it up with that half guard. But this is my system without detailing it, right? So I can come in and detail it with shears, with the corner of a blade, with whatever I want to do. But this is the first draft, right? And one of the things I learned with almost every school that I've been a part of, that I've been to, everyone works in phases and no one ever does it in the first shot, right? So this is without any detailing. Now I'm going to go in and start to detail, right? Now I'm using the corner of my blade. I'm working in small little sections, looking for dark spots or dark areas or imperfections, and I'm just kind of using the corners to pluck those little dark areas up, because it's creating the illusion that area is lighter, where that area might just be more dense than other areas. Well, we need to thin it out a little bit, right? So now we'll line him up, and one of the things too, guys, is I don't like to spend too much time detailing until after the haircut is lined up. So we're lining it up. We're gonna be able to see our picture in its frame. Oh, and here's another thing. That bald area that we did with the babeless shaver, we need to bleed that into, you know, the blade open section. So that's why I used the trimmers just now to kind of pluck away at it. So remember when we first started this haircut, I showed you guys how weak his hairline is. We have to be really careful here, because just pushing in, you know, a fraction of a millimeter, whatever the hell we want to call it, could really mess up the haircut and make you have to push him back, or he's not gonna have a straight line. Same thing with his beard. We got to be really, really careful. And if you notice, I'm using my corners. I'm taking my time, because again, it is very easy to push him back. Before you know it, you're chasing lines, and you don't know that you pushed him back so bad until the following week he comes in and you realize you went back an inch on his hairline. Now, I showed you guys that most of this hairline is fringe. I used the comb to lift his hairline up. I'm at 1146. Let me see if I could show you guys what I'm talking about. Nope. Okay, so right here, you guys can see, I have to do this especially for YouTube. You guys probably know this already, but that's mostly fringe, okay? And so what's all that fringe is doing is it's making his hairline look even weaker. It's making him look like he's balding or something, and he really thinks he is. That's not the case. It's just with fringe, obviously there's nothing underneath it. There's no density, so it's gonna look see-through. It's gonna look weak. So no, I didn't push him back. We did put it. We did go up a little bit on the fringe, but only to make it look fuller. I think that looks better than making him look bald, right? All right, let's go back to 1146. Again, guys, if you have any questions, and it doesn't have to be just a haircut, guys. This is like perfect time for mentorship in general, right? If you guys have any questions with products, if you guys have questions with your barbershop or clientele, or you're having issues in the shop, let's chop it up. Let's talk about it in the chat. Yeah, hang time. There you go. All right, and so I started in the middle of his hairline. Then I did his vertical bar and his corner, and now we're just kind of following it through. Will you be doing any education at Clash of the Clippers in Des Moines? I'm actually doing one class about branding and creating a product or a product line, right? So I am doing a class of that in that sense. There's a lot of classes that weekend. I think this cut is coming out super blurry. So here we had to be careful. Just like head shape, right? Jawlines are very similar when it comes to beards. He has a very long, no, let me use this. has a very long curvature. It curves like that, and then boom. This is where his jawline is at, right here. Problem is, if we line it up that high, you really run a risk of chasing it, and before you know it, you're on this little bump, and his beard is gonna look like it's on like it's halfway through his above his jawline. It's gonna look like it's up here, right? We don't want that. So just like somebody's head shape, you have to build weight or hair into that area so that it makes his face shape look nicer. And so that's why we brought it down lower, his beard line. Are you using the Babyliss shaver more than Braun? If so, why? Yeah, I've been using the Babyliss shaver a lot more than the Braun. I just feel like I can get more detailed with the Babyliss shaver, and I can get closer. But for the neck area, I try to use the Braun shaver exclusively, and for the back of the head, I use the Braun. And for anybody who has sensitive skin, I'll use the Braun. I always line up the mustache like that because I never want to place the body on somebody's nose. It's just very uncomfortable for them. All right. And now let's begin this side. This side's was a little bit harder than the other side. You know how everybody has like that side that's kind of hard. Especially here in this area. If you guys can see my arrow where I'm pointing, there's a lot of indents in there, and then the hair growth, like the direction, the hair growth pattern is like wild over here. So, but same steps, guys. Blade open, and you'll see, I think especially here, how I go in all the way close, teeth first, then to the bevel, and we go ahead and blend out this section first. So to give you guys some more context, right? So, no, what is going on here? Okay, this is section 1. This is 0. This is 2. And this is 3. Right? This section is created with my half guard. This section is created with my 1 guard open. This is created with my 2 guard open. Right? And essentially what we're doing is I need to bleed these 2 sections together. Then I need to bleed these 2 sections into one another. And same thing for here. So essentially you're over directing this section to this section to this section, and this section to this section. That's what we're doing when we're fading. We're blending, and blending is bringing 2 sections into each other. All right, let's continue. All right, question. Wouldn't it be easier to stand directly in front of the client, tilt the chin up, and start the line that way rather than one side? Yeah, it's always easier to, it's the same way I did his hairline where I started in the middle and then I did the vertical bars and then I carried it all the way through. That's how I always do my beards. I know how to do his beard though. I've been doing his beard forever, so that's why I didn't do it that way. But typically that is how I do my beards. I have like YouTube videos where I show that as well. Is it faster? I don't know. I know him by now, so I don't really need to do those steps. So here we're blending the beard. I use my 1 open, then my 1 closed. I already have the 1 guard on, so I might as well start going ahead and blending his beard. All right, so this is section 2. And now we're going to blend section 1 into section 2. That is the goal. And since section 1 was created with the blade open, we are going to have to bring that blade open into section 2 in order to blend them together. So 1 open, now I'm using my half guard, halfway open. and I'm working right beneath that that guideline. I'm going to take that half guard to the section 2. And so we did it with the beard, and now we're going to do it with the taper area. And you can see how it's blending into each other pretty nicely now. Does creating lines depend on the hair type / density? For example, if you do a 1 open into a close, that shouldn't create a line, right? No, it'll still create a line. A 1.5 guard maybe won't, but it'll still create a line. And look how nicely that's blended at this point. Again, we blended 1 into 2. Our next step will be blending 2 into 3. And 3 is created with that number 2 open. Right underneath that number 2 open, we're going to go ahead and use our 1.5 guard. And then underneath that 1.5 guard, we're going to use that 1 open in order to blend section 1 into 2. Because section 1 was created with that number 1 open. Drew Cut said, I'm about to open my first shop, but it's a small city with not a lot of people. It would be 2-chair shop. Profit-wise, you think I should just wait and open a shop in a bigger city? Signed the lease already and everybody and everything, but I'm starting to question if I'm gonna make... Dude, Drew Cuts. How big is the shop? How much square footage do you have? That's the first question I'm gonna ask you. And so look, guys, now that we're using that 1 open, you can see the blends coming together. And this is the draft. This is the draft. We haven't started detailing yet. Not bad. His hair texture definitely helps, but not bad. All right, and so sometimes me detailing is just kind of going back to through the steps that I did, except blending down as opposed to going up. Drew Cuts, how much square footage do you have? That's a big question from me. That, and you know, if your goal is to make money from a barbershop, it's not gonna happen with 2 chairs, dude. You're gonna create what you're doing is creating yourself. You're creating a really hard job for yourself, you know, and that's why I need to know if I don't think. Okay, so what is the population of the city, of the town you're opening the shop at? How much square footage do you have? And my next question would be, what is your goal with the shop? But obviously, you do want to make money from it. So I need those 3 questions answered. 600 square feet. So if you really tried, you can fit another two chairs, 1 or 2 chairs. All right, again, taking my time with his beard, because his beard, he does not have a prominent hairline anywhere. So we have to be really careful when we're lining up his beard. He likes it as full as possible. So it depends, Fadeologist. It depends on how it's built. If it's, for example, 300 by 300, not 300 by 300. You guys get what I mean, right? If it's 275 by 275 or whatever the math is, it's going to be tough to fit 5 chairs in there. It's going to be tough to fit 3 chairs in there. But if it's like 17 feet wide and then it goes back deeper, almost like an alleyway, then you can fit a lot of chairs in there. You can fit 5 chairs in there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and line him up now with the razor. I always do the razor before I put color enhancement on, because I want to be able to clean the skin before I put the color enhancement on. And so I'm just gonna kill 2 birds with 1 stone, right? I'm gonna be able to sanitize the skin but also clean it and prepare it for the color enhancement. Population is 40,000. Yeah, I want at least 3 chairs in the shop. My plan is to have this shop open another one bigger down the road, but not sure if I. You should just wait, dude. You should just wait. It's the same amount of work, bro. I feel like it's not that much more work to own a 10 chair shop as it is to own a 2 or 3 chair shop. And I don't know what rent is, but let's say it's $1,000 a month. After expenses and everything, your expenses total gonna be $1,500 a month. You know, you with 3 barbers, you'll be happy making an extra profiting $1,000 a month. I'm telling you, I don't. All right, so I'm using witch hazel to clean his skin because witch hazel, it takes oil off the skin. It doesn't just sanitize. Like alcohol just kills bacteria. It doesn't take oil off of the skin. So now we have a nice canvas. We can go ahead and use the color enhancement. Make sure you shake it up really well. And let's enhance the cut. It's not needed, but I like to use it. My clients love it, and so I will use it. Wait, $175 a month? Why are we even? There's no risk. That's a whole different story. I wouldn't even work in the shop. If I'm gonna be real with you, I wouldn't even work in there. I'd make it a 3 chair shop. I'd have my freaking. I'd work there. I don't know if you have to work there. Maybe you don't have that relationship with. I don't know. That's not. So I would open it up. I would open it up, work in there with plans to very quickly open a second location. $175 a month. There's zero risk. There's nothing you should be questioning here. There's zero risk. Well, I don't know what the relationship with the current shop owner is, but you don't want to you don't want no bad karma, right? I don't know if there's a conflict of interest there. I would work in the shop temporarily, a year max, bro. Open your next one. All right, so then now I'm going to touch the line up one more time. But this color dries really quick, so it's just really to give it some ash. Give it a little bit more contrast. Especially if you're going to take a photo of it. I don't take any photos of my cuts, but no, I think you should definitely work in it for a year, build it up, try to get 3 chairs in there. What is booth rent out there? Like, what is your normal booth rent? 175? All I'm saying is my man right here, his wife was very happy to see him after the cut. All right, guys, that's the haircut. Any questions? Anything I can go over? Anything that I can recap on? You guys can see it from different angles. I always like them to have their hair braided already. Even if it's like not the freshest braids, I always like it to be already braided because I want to see the finished product. All right. 175. Okay, so Juka said 175 a month. Got to put about 8 grand into renovation though. It's an old building. Got to get it going from ground up. It's PA. We do commission. Oh, you do commission. So let's be conservative here. What's commission usually, like 30%, 40%? Thank you, Drew Cuts. 30, 40%. Let's be conservative and say the average barbers that your barbers can make $1,000 a week. Let's just say it's gonna be 30%. It says so $300 a month. I mean a week is what your barbers would be paying. Let's be even more conservative. Let's say it's 225. Let's say they're not making. It's gonna be a while till they make some real money. Let's say they're each gonna pay you 225 a week, and let's say you're taking a chair 50 to 60% in this town. God. Why are you... There's no reason to question it. No reason to question. Just do it. Hurry up and do it. Get 3 chairs, though. 3 chairs. Those are amazing numbers. Just do it, bro. We shouldn't even be having a conversation about this right now. Alright, guys. Any questions before we end this live stream? Did you learn something? Was it good? What? Talk to me. Let me know. Where in PA are you, Drew Cuts? House hire good though. I'd only be getting 40% off my barbers. This is a great format. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Well, all right, guys. I came in here late. I was working, but the end result was fire. Cool. I mean, it'll be saved. We'll have it saved on the Online Academy. You'll be able to scroll down and go to saved live tutorials. So you guys will be able to watch it from the beginning. Said small. Drew Cutt said small town right outside of State College, PA. Cool, man. Well, guys, I appreciate you being live with me tonight. Next Monday we have another one. I believe we're gonna do it at 9 p.m. next Monday. I'll keep you guys updated. And S Craft Blends should be coming up with a tutorial here soon as well. And yeah, if you guys have any feedback, anything you'd like to see more of in the academy, we could start bringing your haircuts, my feedback back again. YHMF, we can bring that back again to the academy. And yeah, see you, if any of you guys are gonna be in Des Moines, Iowa. I will see you guys there this weekend. Cool, Scott. That'd be dope, man. All right, y'all. Take care.